All America, all the time. Sit down, buckle up, and get ready for The Dan Bongino Show.
Man, do I got a story for you. We had a pretty interesting weekend, Paul and I, down in Miami. Well, we went to the UFC, if you watch the UFC or not. I don't know, you may have seen it, but we were checking out the UFC, and man, I'm sitting there. So where I stayed overnight after the UFC, obviously, was really close to the Kaseya Center where the event was. It's where the Miami Heat play. We go to a game occasionally once in a while, so we don't stay too far from there. So it's Sunday morning. Did I tell you guys this story before the show? I don't think I told you. I told you everything else, so they don't even know this. I wake up Sunday morning, and because we had gotten in late, the fights didn't end till late. I get in, I don't know, maybe 1 o'clock, and which for me is late. 1 o'clock in the morning, I've been asleep for like 5 hours already, right? So you get in, I wake up Sunday morning. Around 8:30, I had just gotten up about an hour earlier. I'm sitting there. I got Fox and Friends on. And, you know, I'm always hyper attentive to stuff on the security front because, you know, you can't not be after reading all this stuff. And what do I hear? I hear boom, 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 boom. And I mean window shaking, super loud. It's clearly an explosion, multiple explosions. I'm like going to get the heater, thinking like, this is it. It's here. You guys know what happened? You do? So I was not read in on this at all. They had imploded the old Oriental Hotel, the Mandarin Oriental on Brickell Key. And it was like a big deal. They had fireworks and everything going. Keep in mind, it's 8:30 in the morning. All I see is smoke. And I'm like, why is nobody calling the cops? So luckily we have X, which is fantastic for live time transmission of data. And I go into X and I see someone I follow was like, wow, look at this in Brickell. They imploded and I'm like, man, what? I was ready to go, man. I'm thinking like, this is it. What the hell? Paula comes out. Paula had slept a little bit later. Paula comes out like that movie Dazed and Confused. She's looking at me like, what the hell's going on? My daughter comes out later on and she's like, oh, I thought that was a dream. I'm like, no, it wasn't a dream. The UFC was great. I want to just, is that it? Is that there it is. That's the implosion. So that went down this weekend, folks. I'm telling you, man, I should have read the emails from locals who had sent them out like, hey, this weekend. I didn't read them. I was too busy. I had no idea. Neither did my wife. And there were a bunch of people on balconies looking out like, this is it. They had fireworks and stuff. They had little like colored smoke going off. And then they're building some huge hotel or something over there. And they knocked that sucker down. So the UFC was a lot of fun. And hence the title of the show today. There's a lot of serious stuff going on. You know we're going to get to all of it. We got a good amount of time today. Don't sweat it. However, whatever you heard about the UFC, like Trump walked out and he was booed and all this other stuff, folks, it's total bullshit. If he was booed, I'd tell you there we go, there goes the hotel. I would tell you he was booed. He not only was he not booed, the place went absolutely freaking bananas when he came in. You couldn't even hear yourself talk. It's of no interest to me to lie to you. Maybe there were like a couple of, there's folks that were, I don't know how many people were there, 10, 15,000, I have no idea. However, there's always going to be a couple people who don't like the guy. Fine, whatever. People boo everyone. People boo. Didn't they boo like and throw snowballs at Santa Claus at a Philadelphia Eagles game once? Right? Isn't that a famous story? The place there was USA chant broke out. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. I got a lot of show for you today, and I got a lot of serious stuff too. I'm going to tell you also why we're not going to talk about a specific story. Why are you going to tell us why you're not talking about it? Because if you're going to be a Dan Bongino Show listener, your choice. We'd love to have you here. There are things I just don't cover until I'll explain in a minute. Hey, feeling your energy isn't the same? Do what I do. Grab some NAD from All Family Pharmacy. They just sent some, and I love this stuff. NAD, energy, I love it for everything. I'm a huge believer. Go look it up. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Bongino to learn more and use code Bongino30 for 30% off. Prescription required and provided if appropriate. Check it out. NAD. It's one of my secrets there. Today's show also brought to you by Patriot Mobile. This year marks a critical moment for our country. As the opposition grows more aggressive and unapologetic, the fight now reaches into the everyday decisions we make, especially our business decisions. Don't do business with people who hate you. Patriot Mobile doesn't hate you. They love you. They've been with you forever. They've been standing on the front lines, fighting for everything we believe in for more than 12 years. They've been with us forever. The service is amazing, too. Believe me, they're not asking for favors. This is a great mobile service. They don't just deliver top-tier wireless service. They are activists like me who truly care about our country and are vocal about it. Patriot Mobile offers prioritized premium access on all 3 major U.S. networks, giving you the same or better coverage than the main carriers. That means fast speeds and dependable nationwide coverage backed by 100% U.S.-based customer support. They also offer unlimited data plans, mobile hotspots, international roaming, and more with simple, seamless activation. You can switch in minutes. It's simple. Keep your number. Keep your phone. Upgrade if you want. And here's the difference. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, support a company that provides a powerful stream of giving to help the Christian conservative movement. This is a great company. We love them. Take a stand today. Go to patriotmobile.com/Dan or call 972-PATRIOT and use promo code Dan for a free month of service. Don't wait. That's patriotmobile.com/Dan or call 972-PATRIOT. Thank you, Patriot Mobile. Okay, so before we get to what we're going to cover, why am I not going to dig in deep to this Eric Swalwell story? Folks, this may bother some of you. It may not. However, I don't lick my finger and see where the political winds are going and then change my mind on stuff. The guy is obviously a clown. He's obviously a demon. I can't stand him. We've covered his political bullshit for years. Swalwell's a joker. He's a goon. Okay, fairly obvious, his Russia collusion crap, just the litany of ethical scandals he had, the whole Fang thing. However, there are some very serious allegations of him. Some of them, the allegations appear to be criminal allegations. And just like I said with Andrew Cuomo, and some of you understood, some of you didn't, I don't do pylons when it comes to that kind of stuff because I think it's really important as a host with a relatively large audience, thanks to you, not a self-praise moment. Everyone is entitled to due process, folks, even the demons among us. Once we start to throw process out the window and pre-convict people who are then, guilty until proven innocent, the whole process goes out the window. His political career is done. He's finished. And we'll continue to harp on his political shortcomings, always. This guy should not be running for governor. This guy should not be in Congress. However, whether it's him, whether it's Tyler Robinson, whether it's Jim Comey, or whether it's Brian Cole, once they get involved in the judicial system that can put people in jail, handcuffs, and take their lives and freedom away from them, it is really important that due process matters, even for people we don't like and really can't stand. That's why. You can agree with the decision or not, it's okay. But there are 2 things I don't do. I try to stay away from that until these people are proven guilty in a court of law, especially when it involves criminal stuff. And second, I don't cover teenagers. I didn't cover David Hogg when he was a teenager, Greta Thunberg. They're adults now, so it's fair game. Because I just don't care. I'm really sorry, but I don't care what teenagers really have to say about a lot of these issues, good or bad, when they haven't done their homework. If you're very articulate, young conservative, and you have something that goes viral, I'll throw you on there once in a while. But I'm not going to go. I just don't do it. So if you're new to the show, that's why we don't do that stuff. Now, so I go to the UFC this weekend. We had a good time. I wound up in the green room. I wind up meeting up with, Gary Brecka. He does a whole bunch of health hack stuff. We love Gary. We had him on the show. I had a good 15, 20-minute conversation with Gary, invited him back on the show. We were talking about everything, hydrogen water, cold plunges. I felt like I got a free tutorial. We ran into him, ran into Brandon Tatum, good guy, ran into Secretary of State Rubio, told him he was doing an amazing job. He's like, man, you look really happy. I said, I am really happy. I'm a happy warrior. So it was a really great event. But this is the video of President Trump walking out. The only reason I bring this up is who really cares if there were 2, 3 people who booed or not? That's not the point. The point is, whereas you can trust us, this show, to get you the truth, and if we screw it up, we'll correct it. Everybody screws something up once in a while, okay? The media lies constantly. You can trust nothing they say. The story this weekend was Trump walked out and he was booed. I couldn't believe it. They had to hide this. I was there, folks. I'm telling you, I was sitting right there. That is total bullshit. The place went absolutely crazy. Here's a video of him walking, and I'll turn the audio up and we can pot it down in a minute. Check this out.
With us in the building tonight, the 45th and now 47th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump.
Yeah, they did that. I didn't ask him to do that. I was just at all. Well, I got to spend a few minutes with him before I left at the end. He's just a great guy. But I'm telling you, I was there. The place went crazy. I don't know what they're talking about. They just make this stuff up. And it's always like assume people are going to believe it. Again, not a huge deal. Just another point to make that I promise you, we'll give you like the good and the bad and the indifferent. If we have to fix something, something goes wrong, and it was like a raining down of booze, clearly we got a problem. Folks, that didn't happen. And it reminds me of the central premise of today's show. And this is the important part. Let's get back to the really serious stuff. Folks, after the tragic murder and assassination of our good friend Charlie Kirk, he was a good friend to all of us. I always say everyone had a piece of Charlie because he spread himself around generously. After Charlie was murdered, I can't believe I'm even saying that. I still can't believe that happened. It's just, it's one of those moments in my life, like the space shuttle disaster. Like I remember every second of it. It's just tattooed on my brain. You know, I believed for a second that there was a chance the larger political environment we're in now, full of lies, even about stupid things, like Donald Trump was booted. I really thought there was a chance things might change. Folks, I told you I'd give you the bad news. They haven't. The left got crazier. The left got even more violent. And even some people, I'm not going to say on the right because they're not ours, but people who pretended to be part of our movement for a long time and made a lot of money off it, went even crazier than I thought they'd ever get to. And they've pulled us away in this instant gratification social media culture from a political lodestar of truth to just a clickbait culture with instant gratification for crazy nonsense that they felt they could profit off. I'm going to tell you something that's hard to hear, but it matters, especially for this show. The truth, ladies and gentlemen, is an investment. Lies will bankrupt you. As the saying goes, gradually and then suddenly. The truth is an investment. What do I mean by that? Folks, I am so confident in everything that happened and what we did there that I absolutely know over time that the compounding interest is not going to show right away from our story, but that the truth will come out eventually. And I am absolutely convinced that if you invested in this show and in us, that you're going to be very happy one day. The truth is an investment over time. It's not instant gratification. Justice is an investment. Instant gratification right now is to, scream about Cuomo and Swalwell and Robinson and Cole and us. It's instant gratification. It may be great for generating clicks, but that's not how you run a process, truth-oriented, bedrocked in truth society. The process matters, even when the process is slow. The truth is an investment. Lies will bankrupt you. I really thought that would change things, but it hasn't. We have to ask ourselves, do we believe in evidence or not? It is really hard to debate someone who doesn't believe in evidence at all, who says things and puts things out there that are constantly shown by fact. In other words, this thing is going to happen on this date, and the thing doesn't happen, and then the story changes. Like, do you believe in evidence or not? The thing you said was going to happen didn't happen. So clearly you're not a credible voice, but there are some people who will defend that no matter what. So I ask those people, does evidence matter to you or not? Because how can you have a society of functioning people where evidence doesn't matter? You do a business deal with someone, you sign a contract. Here's the contract. I didn't sign that. I was there when you signed it. That's my evidence. I was there. I saw you sign it. It wasn't me. It was other kids. How do you run a society like that? You can't. I read this weekend about the UVU where Charlie was tragically murdered. And there's a commencement address going on for the 2026 class. And who does the school invite? This lady, Sharon McMahon, who apparently just days after Charlie's tragic assassination and murder had some very harsh comments about Charlie Kirk. Now, it's not illegal to make comments about Charlie Kirk after his murder. It's distasteful. I would argue immoral, but it's not illegal. I'm not challenging the legality of it, but does judgment matter? Does evidence matter? Like, there's a trial going. You think you could pick someone else? There's the KUTV notes backlash at UVU following selection of speaker tied to posts about Charlie Kirk. Folks, the message is clearly being sent by these people of the left that not only do they not care much about the assassination of a beloved figure on the right who cherished free speech so much it was the central tentpole of his entire process. Argue with me on a campus so we can articulate our points. Not only do they not care, the message being sent is we're going to rub it in and invite someone who didn't even like just to show you what we can do. We have to ask ourselves again, like, are we going to be a movement bedrocked in truth or not? Folks, we are in a really rough time, but here's the good news. Before I get into a whole bunch of other stuff that happened, including Trump, he beat them at their own game again. I know the left are losing their minds on the straight, but I was having a conversation. I don't want to say with who because it was a private one, but it was someone you know in the podcast space. And most of you probably know him. And he was saying the same thing. He's like, hey, I'm glad you're back. Like, we really need to just voice a reason back. Everything's gone crazy. And I said to him what I've said to you over and over. Smile a little bit. I know what I just said sounds depressing. However, I've been here before through these hills and valleys. I haven't been in this business the longest, but I've been here a long time. Sean, Glenn, Mark, they've been around for 3-4 times as long as I have. But I've been here over a decade. Folks, I've seen this before. I saw it in the 2016 primary. I saw it during the Obama years. I saw it during the DeSantis-Trump thing. You cannot be a commentator in this business without people swearing, I don't like what you said, so I'm never going to listen to you again. I'm just telling you. I was telling this to a commentator who seemed a little worried about it. I said, it's okay. This business is not linear. It's scalloped. There's a scallop pattern in this business. Been doing this since 2015 and commenting on this since back in 2011, doing political commentary. It's a long time. There's a scallop pattern. You'll reach a peak. You'll say something like, whatever, I don't really support the death penalty. You'll lose 5% of your audience. I can't stand that. And they'll send you the worst emails ever. And then you'll come back again. And you'll bring up something they like, and then it'll come back. And if you keep just being principled and speak the truth, eventually there is a linear regression line that goes up, but it's not going to be always straight. It's going to go in that scallop pattern. Don't worry about it. Just do the right thing, because the truth is a compounding interest investment. And the loyalty of this audience proves that. So this happened this week, and put up the True Social post. In case you missed it, Donald Trump completely pulled a touche on the Iranians. Vice President Vance goes over there, puts on a good faith effort to to basically have an open forum debate with the Iranians and say, here are our principles, where are your principles, can we meet in the middle? The Iranians give them the double-barreled middle finger, but because the Trump administration and Vice President Vance believe in dialogue, and they do, even with our worst enemies, the Iranians, it was a really good thing that they went over and did that. It was also a good thing that after 21 hours, they said, we can't reach an agreement. You guys are nuts. We're out of here. So what did Donald Trump say? He gave them the ultimate touche. We are instructing our Navy to seek and interdict every vessel in international waters that has paid a toll to Iran. So he basically says, you guys want to shut down the Straits of Hormuz to traffic for fertilizers and petrochemicals? Double barrel middle finger right back. You're not shutting it down. We're shutting it down. Now, you may be saying, well, Dan, how does that work for President Trump? Well, that's what I'm here to tell you. There's a couple of things here. President Trump, being the ultimate deal maker that he is, and by the way, I don't want to hear about how he was lucky. This is like got to be the luckiest guy ever. Crime rate lowest, border apprehensions at a peak, 0 illegal migrants, economy back on track, inflation get a little hot, but it's still nowhere near the Biden era. I don't want to hear about it. This guy's lucky. It's not luck, it's skill. Now he's given the Iranians just a couple of choices, right? Just, we interested in the truth, liberal media people, or not? If you're not interested in the truth, tune out now. They have two choices now. The Iranians said, we're shutting down the strait, we're holding it hostage, we're going to watch oil prices, fertilizer prices spike. Trump says, no, we're shutting it down. What are their two choices? Their two choices are, the Iranians can break the ceasefire and start attacking ships in the strait if the United States and President Trump decide to let the ships through, which breaks the ceasefire, or the Iranians can basically just agree that the United States is going to take over and keep the strait shut down, which they said they were going to shut down. They're kind of in a bad spot, no? What are the Iranians going to say now? President says, okay, you want it shut down? We're going to shut it down. We're going to control it. Are the Iranians going to come out now and go, no, we don't want it shut down. You just said you wanted it shut down. Justin, am I wrong? Josh, you seem a little tired this morning, Josh. Lucy's here. Josh likes dogs. Been taking dog pictures with Lucy all day. He's a little tired. I'm messing with you. I mean, what's that? I told him when he's part of the show when he's done for a job. Is that not our choice? The Iranians said, we want this thing shut down. Trump's like, okay, shut it down. Now the Iranians are like, if you shut it down, we're going to attack you. You just agreed to a ceasefire over a strait you already said was shut down. Now you don't want to shut down. So you agreed to a ceasefire and a shut down the strait, and you don't want to go along with either one of them. Folks in the chat, am I crazy? Folks, again, are we interested in the lodestar of truth or not? Do we want a compass that points true north? Tell me what I'm saying is nuts, and just explain why. If you disagree in the chat, you are free to disagree. Welcome to the chat. It's a chat for a reason. Am I crazy? They thought he wouldn't do it because they thought the president would be afraid of a temporary transient spike in oil prices. The president is not a short-term gratification guy, contrary to what the media wants. Everybody gets it. See, no, I'm not crazy. Thank you, folks in the chat. We got some Mutleys in there, too, which always good. I'm not crazy. The president is a long-term, midterm strategist. And he understands that you're not going to touche me because I'll touche your ass right back. Another angle of this that's frequently not discussed is the fact that the Iranians can't possibly sustain this. A closure of the strait, I should be precise. The Iranians don't have either the military ability or the comms ability to sustain a shutdown of the strait. The United States is currently in the process of clearing mines. The freaking Iranians have already said they don't even know where the mines are. How do you not know where the mines are? You would think that would be the kind of thing you would keep track of. Here's an example, folks. Call me crazy. If you're going to mine your own front yard, which the Iranians did, I used to have a house with a small front yard. Say you don't want the dog walking out there. So you're like, hey, man, I'm going to put a mine on the front. That's probably a really evil, demonic thing to do, but you better damn well know where the mine is so you don't step on it. The Iranians don't even know where the mines are because they can't even turn on their cell phone because what happens is, here, pretend this pen is a missile. Turn on cell. Here we go. Let's do this. Hit my cell phone. Turn on cell phone. Beam up. Here, for Iranians. Let me make cell phone. Here, hold on. I'm going to make a call. Hello. You don't even get hello out. You got to they don't even know where the mines are. How are they going to sustain this? How are you going to? Let me explain this to the liberals in the media who are really stupid. How are you going to pay a toll to the Iranians for free passage through the strait and you're transporting fertilizer out of the strait, right? Josh, tell me if I'm crazy, right? What's the first question you ask, right? Hey, I'm paying this toll. You're not going to attack us, right? What's the second question you want to know? Where are the mines, right? Justin's like, why? So I don't run into them and sink. They don't even know. This was like the ultimate double barrel job to the Iranians. They cannot sustain this. And now they have to break their own ceasefire to do what they said they wanted to do. Close the strait. I want to open the strait. We'll hit you if you do. Wait, you guys said you wanted the strait closed. Again, I'm not here to tell you I do everything right. He does everything right. Everything's right all the time. I'm just telling you like an honest calculation of what happened this weekend. How do you not take this as a huge W? And the people, by the way, beating up Vance, the talks failed. I thought you wanted talks. Did you not say that? We really should have pursued more diplomacy. The vice president goes over there like, I can't believe you pursued diplomacy. Can you guys please stop being frauds? Can you at least be honest about something? Folks, again, our movement's bedrocked in truth. Truth is an investment. There is bankruptcy in lies, but the truth is painful sometimes because you got to tell people things that are uncomfortable. Why can't the left-wing media do this? Why? I made this argument to a left-wing reporter who was actually reasonable. I was chatting with a little bit ago about something different. I said, I had to tell people a lot of painful things because it's the truth and people evolve over time with new evidence. What's that old adage? What is it? Heraclitus said something like a man never steps in the same river twice. Different water, right? People evolve over time with new inputs and facts. Why can't the media do it? Why can't you just tell people that Trump, this was probably a pretty good move and he did seek diplomacy like he said he would? Why can't you tell people like, okay, we were wrong about the Russia hoax? Why can't you do that? Sometimes we have to tell our own group of folks some really painful stuff. But the truth is an investment. You want to see what the alternative is? Total, complete phonies or frauds? Folks, that is the theme of today's show. And AI, as I've said over and over, instant feedback on public commentary is going to make lies bankrupt even faster. It is going to make lying about just facts, not opinions or opinions, lying about facts really painful. I'm going to show you what I mean during the course of today's show. But do you want this? So Kamala Harris is back on the scene. She was at that absolute zero, Al Sharpton's National Action Network. I grew up with this guy in New York. You want to talk about a fraud. This one makes Kamala Harris look like George Washington. However, Kamala Harris is at this thing. First, I want you to hear this for a couple of reasons. Number one, she says she may be running again in 2028, which on its face is like, you should be clapping. Don't laugh. No Mutleys in the chat. You want this woman to run again because she is so hapless. I don't even think she'll get out of the primaries. However, she wants to run again. But that's not even the point of this. The point of this is, listen to her again on this clip. The accent is back. The accent is back. Like for all of the media bashing of Donald Trump, at least he's real and authentic. This woman doesn't have an authentic bone in her whole body. She changes the way she speaks in front of audiences. Folks, I hate this. I saw this growing up in New York with people trying to pretend to be down. Of course, I say no. No, Molly. That's like the worst thing to do. That's a Streisand effect. Here she is. Listen to the accent. It's back when she's asked about 2028. Check this out.
So are you going to run again in 28? So, here, okay,
I tried to be subtle, but I just figured I'd go right
well,
at it.
that's as subtle as Reverend Al Sharpton could ever be. We love you for many things, but not being subtle. Listen, I might. I'm thinking about it.
Folks, this is so phony. This was like a big thing when I was growing up in Queens. You'd meet these guys you'd be hanging out with who you knew from school or the neighborhood or whatever you played basketball with in Juniper Park or Central Park in Queens, and I'm Manhattan. We had our own Central, not nearly as grand, by the way, at about 1/1000th of the size. And they'd show up one day and they'd you'd be talking totally, you'd be like, what just happened to you? Can you just not do that? You have to ask yourself with these frauds like Kamala Harris, right? If they're lying to you about that, what else are they lying to you about? That is the problem with inauthenticity and the bankruptcy of lies. Is eventually what happens is you will retain the cult of personality. It even happens on, our side, which is not our side, but you get the point. You will always retain a small audience of loyals who just follow you because the cult of personality, they just love. They cannot get away from the fact that they've invested so much time in you that everything's a lie, that they start to tell themselves lies and make up stories as to why you're lying. However, you will never have any kind of cultural influence over time because no sane person's going to listen to someone who bullshits them. Now, compare that to Trump, whose authenticity genuinely shocks people. Why does it shock people? Because they're not used to it. In the political space, people are used to being lied to. Maybe for those of you who don't follow politics as much as I do, maybe you're new to the show. I'll compare it to sports. You ever listen to a sports interview? Justin, you ever hear this stuff? It is the worst thing ever. Any sports interview a head coach at halftime of a football game. They say the exact same thing. We're putting out a good effort. The guys got to stay within themselves. They never say anything. You guys know what I'm talking about? Josh, you a football fan? Basketball too. We're going to try to stay within ourselves. It's good effort. We're going to, yes, excellent. We're going to push the pace a little bit in the second half. They never say anything. You know what shocks you? When you give a sports interview and a guy goes absolutely bananas, like Jim Mora at that. Playoffs? What do you mean playoffs? That thing went viral. Why did it go viral? Because Jim Mora, was he coach of the Colts back then? The team sucked so bad, he couldn't believe a reporter was asking him about the playoffs. He's like, are you kidding me? Playoffs. That thing is still viral to this day. People send me little Jim Mora playoffs gambling chips. I have back there somewhere. Because it was the first time they heard the truth. That's Trump. Trump is the Jim Mora playoffs guy. He shocks everyone because he just tells the truth when people are so used to being lied to. Here's what I mean. I saw this on X. I should have hat tipped this. I should have known in advance. However, do you know who this is? Okay, here's two sides. You got a hat tip. People do a lot of work in this space, and I hate people who steal other people's stuff. It's the worst, even our stuff. Here is a side-by-side of President Trump before he was President Trump first, talking about Iran. He has never changed. I don't care if you're pretending to be on our side, if you're in the media, if you're a lefty, a communist, a green, a conservative, a libertarian. Trump's position on Iran has not changed. I'm really sorry you didn't do your homework. You go, I didn't vote for Well, I don't understand what you voted for then, because then you just didn't do your homework. He has not changed one bit. Here is pre-President Trump, decades ago, talking about Iran. It sounds like he could have said this yesterday. Check this out.
Respect of the other countries, then the other countries tend to do a little bit as you do, and you can create the right attitudes. The Iranian situation is a case in point. That they hold our hostages is just absolutely and totally ridiculous. That this country sits back and allows a country such as Iran to hold our hostages, to my way of thinking, is a horror. And I don't think they'd do it with other countries. I honestly don't think they'd do it with other countries.
Obviously, you're advocating that we should have gone in there with troops, etc., and brought our boys out.
I absolutely feel that, yes. I don't think there's any question, and there's no question in my mind. I think right now would be an oil-rich nation, and I believe that we should have done it, and I'm very disappointed that we didn't do it, and I don't think anybody would have held us in abeyance. I don't think anybody would have been angry with us, and we had every right to do it at the time. I think we've lost the opportunity.
Sneakin' McGroin says 80s hair. I was thinking the same thing. I got to tell you, I know I shouldn't be paying attention to those little things, but that's you're right. That was, good hair back in the 80s. Hat tip JV the Great on X. That's where we found this. Hat tip is the right thing to do. Okay, Dan, that's Donald Trump years ago. What, the 1980s? I was a teenager. Surely he's changed his position, because a lot of people say, I didn't vote for that. Really? Well, here's Donald Trump not that long ago saying basically the exact same thing. So I don't know what you voted for. Sounds like you just didn't do your homework. It's okay, by the way. It's okay to say I didn't do my homework and I voted wrong. Hey, man, I voted for people who changed and I voted for a county commissioner here in Martin County who totally screwed me over. I only voted for this woman because she said she wouldn't raise taxes, and she raised taxes. It happens, but just admit it. Just admit it. I just told you. Here's Donald Trump not that long ago. Check this out.
They want to go after our civilians. They want to kill not only our civilians, all over the world. And it's going to be stopped. It's going to be stopped. Somebody criticized me the other day because they asked me what I do, and I said, I'm going to bomb the shit out of them. It's true. I don't care. I don't care. They've got to be stopped.
Folks, it's really important you understand that that was prior to Trump 45, not Trump 47. So there's no excuse like, well, he changed his position in the mid-period between 45 and 47 during the Biden years. No, I want to be clear what I'm not saying. You don't have to agree with the position. There's no obligation to do that in politics. There's nothing illegal about having a different political opinion. I'm just asking you to bedrock yourself in truth and just be honest with yourself. I didn't vote for that. Well, you didn't do your homework. It's okay to say that. Or you did your homework and maybe you thought like you could coax him, somewhere else. Maybe you thought if you said a lot on Twitter that you'd change his mind. That's okay too. But you're just not right. That's inaccurate. He did not change. He has been saying the same thing forever. And for those out there, by the way, do you have that Josh translation of this is the Iranian deputy speaker of the parliament. For those out there insisting still, we played this before. It's not long. It's only like 40 seconds, but you need to hear this, okay? This is Josh's voice overlay because it's obviously not in English. This is on an Iranian public channel, the Iranian deputy speaker of the parliament, not some low-level guy, explaining in Josh's voice, so you can get the translation here, that their whole goal was to get a bomb. You can listen to like the Joe Kents and others of the world who will constantly tell you nonsense. Like they weren't seeking a bomb. They were enriching to 60 and hopefully 90% because I don't know, they wanted like medical, radioactive technology. Like that's just a lie. You're just making that up. Or you could listen to them tell you in their own voice, like, yeah, we wanted to build a bomb. You going to be bedrocked in truth or bullshit? Your choice. Truth is an investment, Check this out.
When we first entered nuclear activities, our real goal was to build a bomb. No point denying it. Yes, 100%. The whole system, everyone who started this. The real goal was to build a bomb. We had started, and we wanted to go all the way. If we can keep it a secret and test the bomb, it would be over, just like Pakistan. Once we began, we had to finish it. No one pays attention to what I say. Foreigners will eventually find out anyway.
Again, it's your choice, folks. You can listen to the rage bait, clickbait, hysteria. Trump sold us out. The Iranians weren't trying to build a bomb. I know I have hidden knowledge. I have a data point. I have a data point too. The Iranians telling you they want to build a bomb. That's called a data point. I mean, does any of that matter? Folks, we really do not want to emulate the left's allegiance to lies. That is not a political movement. That is not a movement. You will never, ever build a sustainable political movement over time with a line that goes up by just constantly bullshitting people. You're only relying on the cult of personality at that point. That's it. I hope you like my personality, but I got to tell you, I hope it takes second place to the content. I pray it does, because I don't want a show like that. Folks, I support the president because we agree on 90+% of the stuff, and that's far better than I do with anyone else. We don't agree on everything. Nobody does. But it was interesting. I saw this weekend. I think producer Jim sent this to me. He's like, what'd you do now? He sent me a text. I had nothing. What do you mean? This was on X this weekend. Dan Bongino sparks wave of public Trump support declarations. I was just quoting Will Chamberlain, who said, I support President Donald J. Trump. So I just said the same thing. I didn't realize it was going to go crazy over the weekend, but I support him because I don't like bullshitters like Kamala Harris, who are inauthentic and full of crap. And the hard reality is Donald Trump is so authentic that it just bothers people, just like the Jim Mora playoffs thing, because they're not used to hearing it. Well, it's your job to get used to hearing the truth, not to acclimate to bullshit. The truth is an investment. Just like Donald Trump taking out the Iranian mullah theocracy and engaging in this touche effort on the street. It's not going to give him immediate positive feedback because, yes, it may cause a blip in oil prices. However, over time, the risk premium is going to go down. He knows he may suffer temporarily, and he did it anyway because he's the real deal. He is the real deal. When there are people who become so accustomed to bullshit artists and the inauthentic deal that they're stunned that he actually does what he says. Why do I support him? Because I support results. I'm going to show you in a minute with facts and data. This Fox clip is just incredible to listen to about some of the things that happened under his just first year. We're not even halfway through. That, again, get completely ignored in the maelstrom. I don't like Trump and his tweets, his truth posts. I don't care. You're allowed to care. I don't care. I care about results. I got kids, man. The world has hostages. What do you want, a bullshitter who sounds great on X and Truth? Writes some flowery speech out there and then does nothing? How many times have we been through this? All right, quick break and I'll show you what I mean. You need people? You need to hire people? There's only one place to go. ZipRecruiter. Hiring can feel like searching for a needle in a haystack. You've seen it. It can be a real headache sometimes. With piles of applications, emails, follow-ups taking up all your valuable time before you meet the right person. It's a waste of time. There's an opportunity cost to that. Well, if you're hiring, here's good news. You can review all of these resumes and applications faster thanks to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter has a new feature that instantly shows you the most interested qualified candidates first. And today you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Bongino. Check it out. ZipRecruiter's matching technology helps connect you with qualified candidates quickly without sorting. And with ZipRecruiter's new feature, qualified candidates who are very interested in your job show up at the top of your list. That's what you want. Don't waste time. Candidates can share in their own words why they're excited about your position, so you get a sense of personality before the interview. That helps. Cut through the standard and get to the standouts with ZipRecruiter. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Talk about saving time and money. Now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Bongino. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Bongino. Meet your match today on ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter.com/Bongino. Thanks, ZipRecruiter. Don't waste time. Use ZipRecruiter. Okay, why do I support him? Because I support results. I said on Laura Ingram's show last week, you may care about the language, the truth posts, all this stuff. Folks, I'm sorry. I don't care. I don't care. If Donald Trump's name was Joey Bag of Donuts and he was a Republican, because I don't vote for Democrats no matter what, and he produces results, I don't really care what he puts on X. I don't. Play that clip from Fox. Does this stuff not matter? We have never seen this kind of results on a spreadsheet in modern American history at the border. Why do I support the guy? Here's why. Check this out.
Examiner reporting new DHS data show last month zero illegal immigrants released into the United States after being caught at the border. Now, that is down dramatically. Well, of course it would be, from 78,000 released into our nation in March of 2024 under President Biden. It also marks 11 straight months of zero catch and releases, all with DHS unfunded through March.
So flowery Kamala Harris-like language about, the school bus and the past. We can't be unburdened by the future, past history, or the power of now. And you want all the bullshit and the fake changing of the voice and the tone all the time. Or do you want like Donald Trump, who's like, yeah, cut the bullshit, like shut the border down? Oh
I'm
my gosh, you can't talk
the
like that.
shit out of them.
Okay, I'm with that. I'm okay. I see these commentary lines all the time, and Wall Street Journal and elsewhere about, man, I can't believe he actually, okay, whatever, fine. Like, you didn't seem that upset when people put out all these flowery speeches and didn't do jack shit and the country was being invaded. I mean, just be principled on it, okay? This guy's, the last year has been so incredible that Donald Trump even has Gavin Newsom, the communist governor of California. He wants to run for president too, by the way. Him and Kamala must be like button heads behind the scenes. He's even got Gavin Newsom tweeting about intercepting government fraud because he's made so many arrests through J.D. Vance, the vice president of the task force, to Minnesota, California, and elsewhere. This is an actual tweet by Governor Gavin Newsom from California. It's kind of hilarious. However, I feel like I should put this out. Who else could get Newsom to tweet something like this? California is leading the charge against large-scale identity theft and hospice fraud. Leading the charge. Today, we're taking decisive action against 14 providers who used stolen IDs from Medi-Cal. Whatever, man. You didn't give a damn about any of this stuff, and you know it. Before Donald Trump dropped the hammer on this through DOJ, the FBI, local partners, wasn't just the FBI. I don't want you to think I'm saying that because I had worked there. There were a ton of HSIs been involved. You weren't doing any of this. You got embarrassed into it. Well, that's a good point, too. Justin says, yeah, we're at the tip of the spear leading the charge because we're also the state with probably the most amount of fraud anywhere in the world on government assets going to people who don't deserve it. This is hilarious. You got to see this scene. Lucy's like sitting there. I brought Lucy in today. Lucy's like sitting on the chair with Josh. Like just the dog's in heaven. I never bring Lucy to the studio, but I had to today because I couldn't find someone, so I had to bring her in. She's just like hanging there. She doesn't bark. You hear her barking during the show? No, that's not my dog. Doesn't bark at all. She's like the greatest dog ever. Thank you, God, for this dog. What a great creature. I never was a dog person, ever. I got the dog for my kids. Now I wind up taking care of the dog. Well, Paula, it's true. She'd probably take care of the dog. Folks, their 2028 platform, okay? Your alternative to Donald Trump and his ideas and his MAGA movement in 2028. Yeah, he's not running. However, the movement will have a candidate in 2028. Their ideas are already out there. You got a choice in the midterms, but given that we were talking about Newsom and Harris, the presidential isn't far off either. You have a choice. I want you to just listen in their own words to the stuff they're discussing right now, because the mistake I think we made in 2016, 2020, and 2024, not all of us, but some of us, is there were people on the fence, Democrat or Republican, not people like us who are going to vote Republican pretty much, no matter what, unless it went totally crazy, right? And the party's totally flipped. There were people on the fence who were like, well, the Democrats kind of talk in hysterics, but they don't really mean it. Sometimes Democrats actually are authentic. Rarely, but they are. And when they listen and when they talk and they say insane things, you should really listen. Here is like the tip of the spear of left-wing political thought, the insane Joy Reid, talking about, well, I'll just tell you what she's talking about. And you should really believe them because this is not a small, isolated conversation about war crimes. Check this out.
Make Trump an adjudicated war criminal. Make Hegseth an adjudicated war criminal. Make Marco Rubio an adjudicated war criminal. I pray that some wise country, and maybe again it has to be South Africa, which has the moral authority, having done it with Israel, someone please, for the love of God, charge these people, at least start an investigation for war crimes. For the love of God, please do it. Take these people to The Hague. Y'all need to propose a solution that can happen. So my solution to me makes more sense.
What is
the Hague? It's much more likely that the international community will drag these suckers to The Hague than it is that an impeachment can get out of the House or survive a Senate vote. The United States has never successfully convicted an impeached president. It's never happened. And the 25th Amendment's never been used. Even when Ronald Reagan got shot, it was on one time it was sort of semi-used. So it's not going to happen.
Folks, when they say occasionally things that are not lies and authentic like that, she's being authentic. Try these people for war crimes. You should listen. Hat tip Western Lensman for pulling that from the Dean Obadiah show. Dean, by the way, who's sitting there just nodding along like, yeah, that's a great idea. I love how, by the way, she cites South Africa. Surely the bedrock for egalitarianism, a country that openly discriminates based on race now. But the racism is against white South Africans. So Joy Reid's okay with that. In other words, Joy Reid doesn't have any problem with racism as long as it's directed at people she doesn't like. Yeah, but you remember the Elon clip we played last week about how he can't get a Starlink application because apparently it's like a white company or something. And he gets in an argument. Joy doesn't care about any of that. The premise here is simple. People get used to bullshit in politics and they vote for flowery language and nice, Twitter posts rather than actual results, which Trump produces. However, the Democrats do occasionally tell the truth. And when they do, you should listen. This is happening right now. Put up that New York Post article. Los Angeles, a city that's been plagued by crime for a really long time. The Democrat Socialists of America candidate, they note the terrifying views on the LAPD as they plan a hostile takeover. They basically are going back to the defund the police stuff again. You're like, not again, Dan. Yes, again. They're not lying. The Democrat Socialists of America would like nothing more than to confiscate your business, take away your freedoms, and have chaos running in the streets as psychologists answer calls with machete-wielding lunatics in the middle of LA hacking people's heads off. Listen to them sometimes in their rare moments of truth. You want to go back to the Biden 9% inflation peak? 9% inflation. You have any idea? Now, it was not the entire time. It was about 5% during the Biden years, which is still awful. But inflation peaked at 9%. Ladies and gentlemen, prices double in 10 years at 7%. Double. You'd have to work twice as hard to buy the same T-shirt. Biden peaked out at 9%. Here's Pete Buttigieg, another likely candidate for president 2028. They're talking right now. Here's Buttigieg defending the Biden year inflation on CNBC. Thankfully, Joe Kernan stuck it to him on a tweet later, and he pointed out facts. So I have to ask you again, leftists, people on the right, people on the fence, are we interested in a compass that points true north, truth and facts, or are we just going to go down the road of bankrupt lies? Because the truth is an investment. It's not instant feedback. You have to be able to admit Biden screwed up. Buttigieg can't even do that. You know why? He was part of the Biden administration. So he has to defend this craziness even at the expense of his own credibility. Check this out.
Feared inflation is up. And the big thing that's different right now, I think, is that in many periods in American history, including recent history, you've had inflation and then the administration does things to try to reduce it. Sometimes they succeed, sometimes they fail. But the administration is trying to push prices down normally. Right now, we have the administration actively making prices higher. They're actively making goods prices higher with the tariffs, obviously. Typical family paid about $1,000 more for that. They're actively making energy prices higher by killing energy transmission projects as well as generation projects. And they're, of course, actively making energy prices higher with a war that nobody wanted, nobody asked for. And that, of course, is the direct reason why inflation is higher now than it was before. To see inflation tripling from last month, not because the administration tried and failed to lower prices, you could put it that way, but really because they actively increased them.
They actively increased them, he says. By killing energy transmission projects, is he unaware of the various pipeline projects and the various deregulatory efforts that the Trump administration has been vigorously engaged in with our Secretary of Energy. Of course he's aware of it. He's just a bullshitter. So Kernan slammed them in a tweet, and he has nowhere to go with this. Again, do you believe in facts and data or not, folks? This is the fact show. Buttigieg tweets out like a moron. Inflation's tripled from just 1 month ago. It's higher than when he took office. Not only has Trump failed to deliver on his central campaign promise to make life more affordable, he's actively, directly driving prices up. Really? Trump wants inflation? Kernan notes, inflation averaged 5.2% under Biden. Even with a war and tariffs to rebalance global trade, March core annual CPI rose 2.6%. It's up to you, man. You got a midterm coming up. You got Buttigieg in 2028. Nothing Kernan wrote in that tweet is inaccurate. Go check it yourself. Put it into your favorite AI generator. You want to go back to 5.2%, 9% peak inflation under the Buttigieg-Biden years? Or would you rather 2.6%? Which, by the way, Kernan's not wrong. We got a war. You got some tariffs as they try to rebalance this global agenda that may have a short-term effect on prices. But the Trump team is hoping with greater control over the Strait and the global energy markets and a lowered premium risk that in the mid and long term, that the truth will be an investment for him in a more prosperous America moving forward with better control and containment over volatile prices. Buttigieg is just bullshitting you. Folks, everything these people tell you is just crap. I just randomly pulled this out on Friday to show you how if you are one of these, liberal, like walking around with Saul Alinsky playbook acolytes, sycophantic liberals who just get lied to all the time by Buttigieg, by Kamala Harris, by Rachel Maddow, and you like being lied to because you believe in the cult of personality. At what point does evidence kick you in the balls? You got these liberal greens, right, telling you, remember Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, that 12 years, the world's going to end, that 10 years, then it's Al Gore telling you the global apocalypse is coming, icebergs are melting all over the place, the Titanic wouldn't have sunk if we just would have had global warming. You're like, well, okay, what are the examples they use all the time? You'll hear from your leftist friends, I promise, because they just speak like automatons, is this thing about the Maldives. They note in 2004, the BBC, the Beeb, warned that the Maldives were soon to be uninhabitable islands, claiming sea levels were rising and that 80% of the islands could vanish within a century. More than 2 decades later, though, Electroverse.net notes in the tweet, reality says otherwise. The Maldives haven't sunk. They've exploded with growth. 12 new airports, expanded terminals. I'm just saying, there's facts, evidence, any of it. I thought they were sinking. I thought in 10 years we're all going to be dead. Well, it's almost 10 years. Thankfully, we're not all dead. I thought all the bergs were going to melt. The glaciers were going to melt. What point do you say, like, wow, I was lied to? I feel like kind of an idiot, right? Maybe I shouldn't have bought that. Here's a little video on this with the Maldives. Check this out. This shows you how much bullshit they're trying to pump down your throat. Check this out.
In 2004, the BBC warned the Maldives were soon to be uninhabitable, claiming sea levels were rising 0.9 centimeters per year, and that 80% of the islands could vanish within a century. More than 2 decades later, though, reality says otherwise. The Maldives haven't sunk, they've exploded with growth. 12 new airports, expanded international terminals, record tourism of over 2 million visitors a year, and more than 170 resorts, with 7 added in 2024. Instead of disappearing under the waves, this so-called paradise in peril has shown no statistically significant sea level rise since the 1980s, according to satellite data. Here we have another climate catastrophe headline completely undone by time.
Did you guys ever see? We used to play this on the show. We had that montage of headlines, climate alarmism headlines from like the early 9 to 10s and 20s on to like the 80s and 90s into the 2000s, the aughts and elsewhere. It's just nonstop bullshit. These people lie to you all the time. Do not fall into a sea of chaos. I'm telling you, do not emulate this stuff. If you are following someone who tells you X is going to happen and X does not happen, And then it happens repeatedly, over and over. Not X, but the lying about X will happen. X does not happen. X will lead to Y. Y doesn't happen. X doesn't happen. At what point do you say, hey, it's on me? This is why the Democrats, despite what they see internally as this incredible moment, this midterms, everybody hates Donald Trump, their hyperbole. We should take back the Senate, the House, everything. Hey, could it happen? Anything could happen. You got to get out and vote. But this is why, despite that, the Democrats even note internally, here's some video caught of a socialist candidate in New York. This is great. I want you to listen to the end, where she notes that, quote, the Democrat Party, quote, has never been as unpopular. Why? Because of this thing, the Maldives, the defund the police, the inflation lies, the war crimes BS, the lying about Donald Trump. He's been inconsistent on Iran. Eventually it catches up to you, and a lot of your base gets tired of the bullshit. Listen to them in their own words. Check this out.
I know a lot of independents. These are people who left the Democratic Party because they were so deeply frustrated with how difficult it was to get anything in terms of listening to communities, Hispanic communities, communities of color, that sort of thing. The Democratic Party has never been as unpopular as it is right now, and we're losing people in droves.
Okay, that's not me saying it. That's them saying it. This is why I'm warning you over and over, 2 or 3 times a week on the show. The truth is an investment. I know it doesn't give you the sugar high. I know you saw someone. I was out to dinner with a friend, a very good friend. And he said to me, man, I heard this thing on X about this case that I had worked at the FBI. I go, where'd you hear that? He goes, this guy told me about it. I go, that's just totally not true. Like I pull it up on a Safari. I do an internet search. I'm like, look. He's like, oh, I didn't see that. It is our job to bedrock our movement in truth, or we are going to collapse into chaos like these idiots on the left. Folks, the truth eventually catches up to you. The delusion catches up to you. The delusion, what's that quote? Is always attributed to Maggie Thatcher. I don't know if it's probably not real, but people attribute quotes all the time. It says, socialism's greatest enemy is reality. You can look it up. People attribute quotes all the time. It's still a good quote. Socialism's biggest enemy is reality. Prove it. Okay. Wall Street Journal, Los Angeles. Far left Mecca, right? Los Angeles. If it's so great, why does, quote, the great migration continue, according to James Freeman at the Wall Street Journal? If your liberal meccas, California and Los Angeles, are so freaking fantastic, and you want to defund the police, you want 9% inflation back, you want an open border, why is everybody leaving? I'm just asking questions. New data from the Census Bureau shows LA County lost approximately 54,000 people from July 24 to July 25. That is, by the way, the largest numeric population decline in the nation. Liberals listening to my show that hate my guts. Okay, you're allowed to hate my guts. It's a free country, bro. I'm just asking a question. If everything is so freaking great in your liberal mecca on crime, the economy, healthcare, and education, why is everybody leaving? Put up that New York tweet. Here's another one. The Mamdani Socialist New York that's been led by socialists and liberal lunatics forever. Post Giuliani, when he cleaned the city up. Why are businesses leaving New York if it's such a great place? The only businesses that are growing in New York, if you look at this chart, this is the New York State Department of Labor current employment statistics. This is a hat tip at New York Hammond, Bill Hammond, who put this up. He notes New York City is becoming, I like how you did that with the tweet. That's pretty cool. And I like that. New York City is becoming an assisted living facility. Notice what jobs are growing. 30+%, healthcare and social assistance, transportation and warehousing. Notice who's leaving. Wholesale trade, other services, retail trade, construction, manufacturing. I thought the Democrats were about middle-class manufacturing jobs. They're leaving. The only people who can't leave New York are people who are aging and need health care and the service industry around them. I'm just asking you guys a question. You're running in 2026 on an agenda. Expanded fraud, open borders, defund the police, more inflation. If everybody loves this stuff, then why is everybody leaving? Can you just answer the question? Just explain to me why everyone's leaving. This clip is amazing. You want to talk about how dumb the Democrats are? This is the great Scott Jennings on CNN. We had him on the show last week as a guest. He was incredible. He debates on CNN. The host, Abby Phillips, is just not smart. If you don't know something on live TV, here's my recommendation here. What do you know about live TV? I do it all the time. I had a show for 2 years. Wasn't always live, but a good chunk of it. But my guest hits are all live. It's okay to say you don't know or to say I have to go back and look it up. It doesn't look great at the time, but if you don't know, at least you're being honest. Abby Phillips doesn't know stuff, so just lies about it and has to be constantly humiliated by Scott Jennings on CNN. This is what I'm talking about, why the Democrats' movement keeps falling apart. This is so easy to debunk that all you had to do, this is a debate about Medicaid taxpayer dollars going to illegals. All you have to do, folks, is go to the internet on your phone and put in there, does Medicaid money go to illegal aliens? The answer pops up in microseconds. She can't do that. Here she is vigorously debating Scott Jennings on a point she's already lost because it's not true. Check this out.
Other debate about who's going to get taxpayer-funded Medicaid in this country. That's what the memes are about. That's what the fight is about. Democrats want to make it about this subsidy issue. They don't run out to the end of the year, by the way. But the real thing is they filed legislation to repeal what the Republicans did this summer. And so these two issues have been conflated. But the fact is they don't just want the subsidies. They want other things. And the president is drawing attention to it, I think, in a pretty clever way. We just had a national emergency about telling jokes. I don't know why people can't take a joke.
Medicaid is still not going to illegal immigrants, Scott.
It is. It really does.
It's not.
It really does.
So
it does in several blue states.
Scott, no, it's not.
It really does.
Listen.
Oh my God. Guys, how hard is this? Folks, I swear to you, on my right arm, you can saw it off. On my life, take it if I'm lying. What? The right arm's a good arm, yeah. So I'm even giving you the good arm. I should have given you the left one, which is decaying rapidly. They're different sizes. I'm totally asymmetric now due to arthritis everywhere. All I did with my two thumbs that thankfully are not yet arthritic is put in because I know it's fake. Does Medicaid money go to illegals? Try it right now. I'll give you a second. 1, 2. Here's what popped right up. This is a House report from the House of Representatives on this exact question. It popped right up. It was actually the first, it may be different, maybe second or third. Put that up there, this House report about it. This is how easy, Abby, this is. Maybe just try it one time. Check this out. House Budget Committee. But by the way, they're citing CBO numbers, Congressional Budget Office, which is nonpartisan. Medicaid spending on illegal aliens has cost taxpayers. It's not funny. This is so easy. Has cost taxpayers over $16 billion under open borders Czar Harris. Go down to the second page. You'll see it lays it out clearly. Yes, despite some legal prohibitions about some Medicaid money going to illegals, that despite those limitations on illegal aliens receiving federally funded Medicaid benefits, such aliens may receive Medicaid benefits for emergency services. In other words, you go into the emergency room, specifically, Medicaid's required to cover treatment for illegals who would otherwise qualify for Medicaid, if not for their immigration status. You could just look this up. Folks, the truth is an investment. Lies will bankrupt you. You know, can we put the Ro Khanna thing up? I know I was going to play at the end, but I said to you last week, and it's not some deep, profound political analysis, but we've been harping on this on the show. I'm an investor in the tech space, as well as a content creator and others. I love the tech business. Everything from AI to quantum to content generation to video to programmatic ads. I'm obsessed with the whole business space here because it's democratized media. democratizing media has a cost. Like I said, my friend who showed me this, oh my gosh, I can't believe this case, like this happened. It was just fake, but then I instantly corrected it. Folks, the bankruptcy of lies is going to get more immediate. It's not going to be gradually and then suddenly. Bankruptcy is going to be sudden now if you continue to lie. Why? I want you to look at the clip of this debate. Ro Khanna does one of these debates on what's that? They do these Jubilee. Yes, I'm sorry. Thank you, Justin. Ro Khanna sits down for this debate. He debates a very, very smart woman who's going back and forth. And the content is almost irrelevant at this. I mean, it's good. It's not long. I want you to pay attention. I'm sorry, if you're listening on Apple and Spotify, you got to watch the end of the Rumble show for this. I want you to notice the side of the screen where they're through the internet, probably AI or even just a search engine. They're instantly fact-checking Ro Khanna, who is just wrong. This is the future of the bankruptcy of political lies. It's going to be really, really hard to do this going forward. Check this out.
My frustration is, as a regular, everyday American citizen, I feel that I am more likely to be harmed by Democratic policies such as open borders. Because
I'm for secure borders.
Okay, but in your state, something like 4,600 or so illegal migrants that had criminal records were re-released from jail. So when we're talking about harming Americans, when we're talking about children potentially being harmed, when we're looking into child trafficking, we have to acknowledge that illegal migration is the biggest funnel for child trafficking. So when we're worried about Epstein with a couple of people, and you guys turn a blind eye to tens of thousands of children being harmed by your policies, that's a problem.
We have been for a secure border, but here's what I want.
No one in California can say that they're for a secure border.
There's an instant fact check going on the side of the screen about California complying with ICE detainers. Folks, this is not the future. It's the right now. You are going to see this in live debates going forward. And I have an important point to make to put the cherry on top of this, though. That is why it is really important that you do not use bias inputs AI outcome generators. Folks, I use some of this stuff for show content and other things, but I'm very careful. Grok, I think, the Elon's AI generator, Grok, I think, is the fairest. If you give a system BS, left-wing Abby Phillips inputs, then they're going to spit out an output that Medicaid funding doesn't go to illegals. It's only processing a language model. It's not thinking. AI doesn't think like you think. It is going to be important going forward you pick the right AI generators, outcome generators, because crap inputs are going to be crap outputs. But the market of ideas is going to take over. And I'm telling you, people in the future, it's going to be really, really hard to BS people. I mean, look at this Washington Examiner article about, gender transitions. There's no such thing. There's mutilating kids' bodies. There's no such thing. You cannot transition your gender. Don't ever use that language. Gender affirming care. That's the left in a euphemisms war to try and win an argument before they've had it by language alone. Gender affirming care. There is gender affirming. You know what it's called? You guys know? It's called birth. Your gender's affirmed at birth. There's no gender affirming care, okay? The only gender affirming care is if you're a man, it's telling you you're a man. You've affirmed the gender. So we were told over time, of course, that if you don't let a man cut off his unit and attempt to become a woman, ridiculously, by the way, because that's not possible, that they're going to kill themselves and their mental health is just going to deteriorate. Oh, look at this, Washington Examiner. Gabrielle Etzel. Mental health worsened after gender transitions for youth, major new study finds. Now let's package it all together. There's a debate going on for the presidency in 2028. And Gavin Newsom and Buttigieg and Kamala Harris are on stage. Who knows how Kamala Harris is going to be talking then? I mean, we have no idea. She'll be on her third or fourth different way of speaking by then. And Gavin Newsom's on stage, and there's an AI generator. And hopefully it's Grok and not one of these other biased ones that uses actual data like that one in the Washington Examiner report. And Gavin Newsom is like, well, we have to transition gender. These kids are going to kill themselves. Even if the other candidate is not a skilled debater, there's going to be some AI check on the side. There should be, at least, That should say this is actually inaccurate. A major new study finds mental health worsened for, quote, gender transitions, which are not that at all. It's going to make these people look like idiots. This was never an option in the past. You had to rely on the moderator, like that Candy Crowley thing with Mitt Romney. Remember that debacle? Folks, it's going to get really, really painful going forward to BS people. It's expensive to be an idiot, okay? It is expensive to BS people. And it's going to get more expensive going forward. And calling out people's hypocrisy in live time really makes a difference. I want to show you this clip to see what I mean going forward. Because we have this tool, that does not mean that it is not our responsibility as political commentators to do the best we can in debates and to not have to rely on AI. If you know the facts, like Scott Jennings did in that piece with Abby Phillips, Medicaid money doesn't go to illegals. Yeah, it really does. Scott's right. She's wrong. The facts back her up. He knew that. You're not going to know everything all the time in every single debate, especially on live TV. And it's okay to say I don't know. Okay to say I'll look it up. But what's really helpful is calling out hypocrisy in live time too. If the Democrats are going to hold you to some standard, reparations, land acknowledgments, really? Did you give up your land? No. Oh, so you just want to get someone else to give up their land. You're not talking about you. You're talking about someone else. Here's Jordan Peterson. This woman's talking about white privilege, and he's like, yeah, but you're white. Like, I understand why you don't do something. Like, why not give your job to an underprivileged person? Notice the uncomfortable tone she responds back in because she knows she's full of shit. She doesn't believe any of this. She just read some talking point on like Blue Sky or whatever. This is great. Check this out.
Well, I think I'm benefiting actually from a lot of things that I don't support that are unearned privileges in my life. I think that's absolutely true.
Like your job?
Like I have a very good job. I had a loving family who well, I don't think that's going to do the world any good, is it?
That's a hell of a fine rationalization for your privileged position.
Oh, well, fair enough. But if
you could trade it off with someone who's less privileged,
I could.
That'd be a start.
I could do that, but I don't want to, and I won't, and I don't think I should be expected to.
Why not? Is it okay for you to occupy a position of privilege in the patriarchal tyranny? And if it is it because you're female, or is it just because it's convenient?
Justin told me it's a GQ interview. I think it says 70 million views. Why does it have 70 million views? Because of what I told you before. You can only live in this chaotic sphere of lies for so long before people start asking you to meet the same standard you're lying about. You're lying about this principle of privilege. Because if you thought this principle was so revolting that you're privileged because you're white, you would do something about it. Just like you would do something like Billie Eilish about land theft and acknowledgments. But you don't. Because as the lady says in the interview, I don't really care to do that because you're full of shit. This is what gives me hope going forward. That is insane. 70 million views in 7 years. That is insane. This stuff resonates with people. This is what gives me hope. And this is why. Why did I support Donald Trump? Put that tweet out. I wasn't expecting some viral thing. I just said I support Trump. Because I don't care about the language or the memes. I don't care. I just care that the man is authentic. He says what he's going to do. He does it, whether it's politically popular or not, even when it costs him on the short term, because he knows policy truth is an investment, and he does it anyway. He's not a fraud. Do you ever see the Dave Chappelle? I'm not a huge fan of Chappelle. However, he doesn't really care, nor do I, whatever. But he's funny sometimes. Chappelle does that bit. I played on my show a couple times about the honest liar. How like Donald Trump just comes out when he had that debate with Hillary Clinton. And when he was talking about taxes, how like you're full of crap. Like you want tax cuts for your rich friends. You know how I know? Because I use the same tax cuts. Like people were stunned by that. Like, oh my gosh, he's actually telling the truth. Why do I support Donald Trump? Because I know what I'm investing in. I'm investing in policy truth. I'm not investing in this Mamdani AOC bullshit. The Maldives are sinking. We should open the border again. We should be generous to illegal migrants. Okay, well, take one into your home. No, I didn't mean me. We should acknowledge this. The land has been stolen. So give the freaking land back. No, not me. Not me. I get the question a lot. They're like, someone asked me at the UFC this week, and I was chatting with some guy. I don't know who he was, but nice guy. And he was thanking me. I said, well, thanks. No, thank. I appreciate it, but you don't have to do that. They said, why'd you do it, though? You had a great show, you move away from the family. I'm like, because it's tough to tell your audience to go do something, but no, not me. Told them I'd give them that year, and I meant it. Just do it like Trump does. Man, that was a show for a Monday. I told you I was going to come out firing. The funny thing is, I did some of the show on Friday, some of the evergreen stuff, and I'm throwing most of it out and starting the whole show again on Monday morning. Lucy, thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate it. We had a couple extra, we had a canine producer. Where is she? Lucy! Luce, come on over. Have you guys seen Lucy in a while? My wife puts these little bows in her ears. Luce, come here. Come here. Justin, you want to grab her? Here. Who wants to see Lucy? Let's take a look in the chat. Anyone? You want to see? She's gotten quite big. There she is. Producer Justin. Lucy making it. She got big. There we go. Thank you, Justin. Lucy, say hello to everyone. She's not going to say hello. She's a dog. But in her head, I promise, she's saying hello. You ever see that Instagram video? Here's where it's hard to get mad at my dog because here's the sound playing in her head, and it's that music. That's Lucy. Yes. There you go. Well, here we go. There, see? I could predict you guys were going to say that in the chat. Thanks for tuning in. You got Haley coming up at noon. Rumble.com/Haley. Vince every day at 8 a.m. Rumble.com/Vince. And please, if you wouldn't mind doing us a favor. Folks, I hate asking you favors, but this one's important. If you could go to the App Store, wherever it is, on your Android or your iOS, download the Rumble app. I would really appreciate it. Give us a follow. You can also go to rumble.com/Bongino. And I know it's the audio-only show. Our video is exclusive to Rumble. However, if you would go and follow us on Apple and Spotify, you can listen to the audio show there. We really appreciate it as well. I will see you back here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Time.
I'm Haley Caradia,
host of Vince,
host of Scrolling with Haley.
You can always catch my show right here
on the Bongino Report,
live 8 a.m. Eastern weekday mornings,
weekdays at noon. If you miss it, no worries. The show will always be
right here
and anywhere you find a podcast. Thanks for watching.